The end of the 1960s meant the farewell of the great Mickey Mantle. But the 70s brought New York another young star from Oklahoma, Bobby Mercer.
With his speed and his bat, we considered putting him in the outfield, and I think that sort of made Bobby. I mean, he's a complete ball player, as everybody knows. He's one of our real stars on the ball club. He can do a lot of things. He's got good power, he's got good speed, he's a good base runner and a good outfielder with a good accurate arm. And I guess you'd have to rate him with the superstars because of his overall ability, his great competitiveness, and he plays every day, and he can do all the things that you ask a player to do to win ball games.
Yeah, we had Bobby Mercer and myself, and we were kind of, I guess, the nucleus of that ball club. Mel Stottlemyre was our ace on the staff, and we were kind of going through quite a few ball players during those years. You know, a lot of changing faces, a lot of trades, different guys coming in that were at the end of their careers.
And then there was one player on the Yankee team of 70 who was just beginning his career.
Oh, there's the volley floater, and it's fouled back. And Munson makes the catch. Holy cow, what a play by Thurman Munson.
First time I met Thurman, I said, this is really a cocky kid from Northern Ohio, from Kent State University. And we called him Squatty Body. We hit on him so hard, and it was funny, you know, but Munson took it well. Very cocky kid, self-confident, good hitter even then, but we weren't sure he was a good catcher. He caught one-handed, he scooped everything out of the dirt instead of blocking. He had this funny throwing motion that he did, and you knew he was going to be a pretty good ball player if he didn't get so caught up with himself that it overwhelmed him, and he didn't. He was really a nice guy.
Well, Munson was the kind of a guy that he just couldn't stand losing. In '72, the Yankees traded for a couple of players who felt much the same way.
Ralph Houck, when I showed up there, he asked me, well, how do you want to do this? And I said, I just want you to run me in there until I tell you if I need a day off. I don't want you asking me every day, how do you feel? I always hated that. You know, that was the big thing in the club. Hey, how do you feel today? You know.
I was home with a cast on my leg. In fact, I'd had my ankle operated on over the winter to take some bone chips out, and I was traded during the winter meetings. I went to New York a month later, and I went into Ralph Houck's office, and I say, see, I just got the cast off my leg, and he had no idea I had even had an operation, you know, and he was kind of thrown back. He said, if I'd have known your leg was in a cast, I might not even have traded for you. So I'm very happy that the Cleveland people kept it a secret from Ralph that I had my leg operated on, or else I may have been stuck in Cleveland for the rest of my career.
The most significant arrival, it came in the winter of 1973. George Steinbrenner bought the Yankees.
We are in it as sportsmen, but I wanted to be sure because it's important to me, it's important to all of us, and it's particularly important to New York and to the Yankees that the group that gets behind the Yankees at this point have the wherewithal and the interest and the diversity to get the kind of job done that the sports writers, that the fans, that the city and the media in New York deserve.
I wanted a baseball team. I was after the Cleveland Indians because I lived in Cleveland at the time. And then all of a sudden, out of the clear blue sky, Gabe Paul, I was at a ball game with him on Sunday, mentioned to me that the Yankees we thought were for sale. So I got on a plane, went up, met Mike Burke, liked him very much, met Mr. Paley at CBS, who was a tremendous businessman. I will never forget that deal. I made a deal with Mr. Paley. He shook hands on it over the desk, didn't take 5 minutes, and he never allowed lawyers or anyone else to interfere with anything that we'd talked about. He would just say, that was the deal, boom.
Believe it or not, he was kind of quiet and laid back at the beginning, and he said he wasn't going to become real involved with the ball club, and you know, we didn't know who he was, and so we kind of believed that.
Steinbrenner's Yankees developed into a whole new breed, making news all the time, starting with Ron Blomberg.
I think I had a slight pull muscle, and we were just coming up from spring training, and Ralph Houck came up to me the day before and said, I'm going to be, instead of playing first base, I'm going to let you be the designated hitter. I said, fine. I said, I've never done it before. It was sort of like a yogiism a little bit. Since, of course, it was never done before because it was the first time that it ever happened. And I faced Louis Tiant in the first inning, and I walked. I never knew it was going to be a very important day. I don't think anybody did. And to this day, I think I'm recognized more than anything else in the world to be the first designated hitter. But you know, at least I got in the Hall of Fame, the back door rather than the front door.
1974, far different headlines. Catfish Hunter became a Yankee, and he had a 5-year, $3+ million contract.
In order for me to bring back the Yankees the way I wanted to a winning team, I felt I had to utilize free agency. Free agency was a part of the game. I never made any bones about it. I said it's like the bat and ball and the glove. If it's part of the game, it's in the rules, I'm going to use it, if it can make the Yankees stronger.
I mean, he brought the Yankees back to prominence, I think, at that point, because we finished up pretty good in '72, but before that, they were 5th, you know, in the league. So actually, he is the reason that he brought back the dominance of the Yankees at that point.
In August 1975, Billy Martin began his second career with the New York Yankees. The first came in the 1950s when he starred as a second baseman. He played on 5 world championships, and now as manager, Martin's Yankees were ready to rise again. In 1976, the following spring, a refurbished Yankee Stadium opened to great fanfare. The boss, George Steinbrenner, had only one thing on his mind.
Well, I want them to be a representative team. I really want to, if I could capsulize it, I'd say I want them to be representative of New York. I want them to go everywhere and have everybody say, well, they're the New York Yankees. And I want a positive thing out of it for New York. They better represent themselves like Yankees in the same pride and tradition of the era in the past.
No one exemplified the resurgent Yankees more than Thurman Munson, Rookie of the Year in 1970. And now, 6 seasons later, not only the league's most valuable player, but an indispensable force behind the Yankees' first pennant in 12 years.
There's a certain pride, there's a certain attitude that we would exude. Thurman, he was the head of that whole class. I mean, he wasn't gonna let us forget that. It's been a long time coming, and once we get our foot in the door, let's stay there, let's run with it or whatever, and just show people what we're all about.
We won 10 out of our first 11 ball games, and we kind of never looked back. I think the closest anybody got to us was about 5.5 games sometime around in August. And then we turned it on, won 6 or 7 in a row, got back up to a 9 or 10 game lead. So we kind of knew, you know, that we were going to be the champions that year. It was just a matter of time as we played out the season before we finally clinched.
We played Kansas City, which was a very tough team in the playoffs, and that was a very emotional, very roller coaster playoff that everybody knows the outcome of that.
The American League Championship is Chris Chambers. Walks to the plate.
That was a great moment for me and for New York. It was just a great time. It was the first year back into the new stadium, and it was just fantastic.
Mark Littell delivers high drive. Hits it right center field.
That's gone.
It is gone.
Chris Chambliss has won the American League pennant for the New York Yankees.
We thought we'd already won the World Series when we beat the Royals, and went to play a great Cincinnati team and really got beat up.
Even as the Big Red Machine swept the Yankees, Thurman Munson had a terrific series. In the 4 games, he batted .529, tied a series record by getting 6 straight hits. Reds manager Sparky Anderson was duly impressed.
Nice ball game. Go on in. Hell of a game. That's on a Gunkin flat hit now. He is really a good hitter. Woo, he's a good hitter. This mother can hit, can't he? Oh, he can hit. He just stays right with the ball. He doesn't do anything. He just stays right there and keeps everything in and goes with the ball.
It just shortens up when he gets 2 strikes. It's like that Matlock.
Rico Carter.
Go Matlock.
He can flat hit. That son of a gun can flat hit.
Determined to again reach the World Series the next year, the Yankees signed free agent Reggie Jackson to the richest contract to date in all baseball history. As he said, he was the straw that stirred the drink. His ego created as much excitement as his bat. On the pitching side, Sparky Lyle produced a brilliant bullpen season and became the league's first reliever to win the Cy Young Award. Indeed, it was the Yankees' year.
I think everybody knew from about the first week of the season that we were going to win that year. There were just no 2 ways about it. And even if we would have had a couple of serious injuries that year, we still felt that we could overcome. You know, as long as we didn't have anybody that was going to be out for the season, we could maintain for that month or that month and a half or whatever.
In '77, we had been to the series in '76, and so we knew the novelty had kind of worn off. We knew that this was a serious time, and now that we're here in the series, let's try to win it. We played the Dodgers, and we had a great series. Reggie had a great series, and we won.
Making the '77 series historic and unforgettable was Reggie's Game 6 performance. In 3 consecutive swings, he smashed 3 homers, all on the first pitch, and the Yankees, well, they chalked up their first world title in 15 years.
There's nothing that can compare with winning a World Series. I mean, the pressure is there in the playoffs. Once the playoffs are over, the pressure is not there anymore. The World Series is kind of like a vacation after that. We took a different attitude in there that year, and we won the World Series.
'1978 made the heroics of '77 seem tame. To be sure, when it comes to excitement and drama, no Yankee team before or since has had a summer like that of 1978.
'78 was Ron Guidry's year. It was Greg Nettles, I don't think, made an error in 180 games. I mean, he did, but you know, he was fabulous at third base. That was the year we caught the Red Sox. We were 15 games back at one time. I remember the Red Sox came in after 70 games in the middle of June, 50-19. I remember talking to George Scott in the outfield and Rick Burleson. There was no way anybody was going to catch them. We were 15 games back in the middle of August. Steinbrenner said he was going to, pull up a truck and then ship us all out.
All maybe except for Ron Guidry. He was on the way to a record of 25-3. How about that?
It was a season where everything was in tune. Everything was working fine. If I gave up 3 runs, we scored 4. If I gave up 1, we scored 2. If we scored 1, I didn't give up any. It was that sort of stuff.
And the noise builds up.
Ron was the type of guy that he was little. The guys didn't think he could throw that hard, and he thought by him before they could even think it.
That game where he struck out 18 guys, I mean, that was, I can still remember him walking out there and saying, I don't have anything today. We're going, oh, and now all of a sudden he starts throwing, we're going, oh, geez. Wonder what he'd have done if he'd had his stuff.
But even with great pitching from Guidry, the Yankees were self-destructing. It all came to a head in late July when Billy Martin resigned and Bob Lemon stepped in.
Lemon was the perfect choice at that time. Lemon relaxed everything. Everybody quit bickering and concentrating on baseball. Everybody got in a relaxed frame of mind where they could concentrate exactly on what they had to do on the baseball field. After we got going, which was late in the season, but it took us a while to get going. Once we got going, we thought we would win it all.
The Yankees battled their way to a 1-game playoff against the Red Sox to decide the season.
They had come from a long way back, and Boston didn't give up. They came back, and they tied the thing. You got to go to Boston to play it, and it was one heck of a game, as I remember.
Deep to left. Yastrzemski will not get it. It's a home run. A 3-run home run for Bucky Dent.
Goose Gossage would wrap up 2 more Yankee comebacks that October, first to win the pennant and then to win the World Series.
I just look back on those days, and there just aren't the players as a whole that have the confidence that ball club, in that era possessed.
For Yankee fans, 1979 will forever be clouded by tragedy.
The world of baseball is in mourning tonight for one of its finest stars. Thurman Munson, the 32-year-old captain of the New York Yankees, is dead.
New York Yankees and sports fans everywhere suffered a great loss tonight, that of star catcher Thurman Munson, who was killed this afternoon in an airplane crash.
He made an impact on everyone's life. Everyone that he came in contact with, he impacted in some way. That's unusual. I think that's a highly unusual trait in a person. He had the quality. It's not something I understand. It's something I appreciated. It's something I always knew he had. And, you know, I thank God that I had him and that I was able to be a part of his world, because he was special. And obviously by the reaction to people all of these years later, it's obvious that he was special to them also.
The Yankees lost the pennant to the Royals in 1980. They fell to the Dodgers in the next year's World Series, and thus the end of an era had come. The championship teams of the 70s had all but faded away.
I'm extremely appreciative of having worn the pinstripes, worn the NY, having played in front of some super baseball fans, and honestly felt like I became a part of New York toward the end of my career.
And so, with Reggie gone, the spotlight had to focus on someone else. It was Dave Winfield, who 1 year earlier had signed a 10-year deal with the Yankees that was worth $20 million.
I think the fans like the way I play. I've established more or less the way I play on a daily basis. That's good, hard baseball. But I'm basically low-key. So I'm one of the few, one out of a million people in the country that's doing what he really wanted to do and doing well at it.
Uh-oh, he tomahawked that one. No doubt about that one.
By 1983, Dave Winfield had established himself as a Yankee. But another player was just beginning to put his name in the books. Talking about Dave Righetti.
40,000 plus people standing and roaring, and Righetti trying to get Bob. And he gets it! A no-hitter! A no-hitter! A no-hitter for Dave Righetti! How about that? He got the no-hitter!
But for many, that year will always be remembered for one of the most bizarre events in baseball history.
The pitch deep to right field. Holy cow, I don't believe it. Home run for George Brett. I don't believe it.
Neither did George Brett, who was called out because he used pine tar too far up on his bat. The Yankees won the game, moved into first place, but it was the only day they would enjoy that position in 1983. 1983 also marked the debut of the most dominant Yankee of the decade, Don Mattingly. But there were many other bright stars. Rickey Henderson, traded to the Yankees in 1985, took just 4 seasons to steal 301 bases and set a new all-time club record.
There goes Henderson, a pitch out, and it throws high. All right.
There goes Rickey. Boy, I tell you, he is quick those last few steps.
You always got to believe in yourself that, you're not going to get picked off, and when you run, you're going to be safe. And I believe that so much that, I feel that, when I'm out there and when I steal a base, it's not a pitcher can throw me out.
Or get him out. Batting leadoff, he was in a league all his own.
I got to make things happen. I'm the leadoff hitter, so if I get on base, they seem to follow me. So I'm the one that they say got to make it happen.
The Yankees almost made it happen in 1985, losing the division to the Blue Jays on the next to last day of the year. On the last day, Phil Niekro took one step closer to Cooperstown as he went all the way for career win number 300.
That's it! Holy cow, what a way to end it! A strikeout gets his 300th career win, and I tell you, this is really an exciting moment in a year that's been filled with exciting moments for the Yankees.
One of the more exciting moments of 1986 belonged to pitcher Dave Righetti. Dave set the single-season Major League save record with 46.
2 men on. Crowds screaming now. Orge on second. Fernandez on first. Yankees leading 2-1. And Lloyd Mosby misses. Strike 3.
Every year, I think what happened was the start of spring training, someone would say I was going to be a starter, and that started it. And as soon as I had a couple bad games, everybody yelled about that, let's start. And nobody quite realized what they had in the bullpen. And so I didn't get a whole lot of respect for what I was doing down there, and that was the least of our worries, I felt, was the short relief. I think we needed to bolster some other parts of the ball club.
They did just that in 1988 when they signed free agent Jack Clark, who figured to add some pop to the lineup.
I'm hoping to fit in better over here, and I felt I fit in good in St. Louis, but I'm looking for the same type of success in numbers and the consistency that I had for 3 years in St. Louis and with San Francisco for my time here.
Jack Clark's time here wasn't very long. He was traded before the '89 season, but his time was well spent. Still, power was never in short supply with Mike Palirulo on the lineup. The left-handed hitting third baseman hit 32 homers in '87, but it was his all-around gritty play that made Pags one of the most popular Yankees of the '80s.
Holy cow, did he cream this? Oh, that is gone. A home run for Pally. You know, I can't believe it. Holy cow. Here's a guy I didn't think he'd play for a month with the way he got hit in the arm and the nose, and here he is back.
Don Mattingly, considered by many to be the most dominant Yankee of the '80s.
Deep to right. Mattingly has hit one into the upper deck.
He hits it high and deep. Will it stay fair down the line? Goodbye, grand slam, 4th of the year for Don Mattingly.
Don Mattingly played his first full season in 1984, and right from the beginning you could see he was going to be a star. He won the batting crown after an epic battle with Yankee teammate Dave Winfield. But even then, Mattingly had higher goals.
You'd like to hit 300, you'd like to get 200 hits, and I'd like to drive in 100 runs. And to me, those are kind of basic things that you shoot for every year. I don't set any type of specifics. I want to hit this or that or this many home runs. It's basically things that are, you know, to me, 200 hits you have to play every day. You have to stay healthy and you have to be consistent. So that's the type of goals I like to reach for.
Drills it to right field, his second hit of the game. Randolph scores, and it's now 5-2 Yankees. That's his 200th hit as he becomes the first Yankee since Bobby Richardson to get 200 hits in a season.
Don Mattingly wound up with a league-leading total of 204 hits. In going 4 for 5 in the last game of the year, he out-hit Dave Winfield by 3 percentage points, becoming the first Yankee since Mickey Mantle back in 1956 to win a batting championship. In 1985, Mattingly was headed for even greater glory. As the Yankees battled futilely through a pennant race with Toronto, he emerged a full-fledged star, producing numbers even his toughest critic could really appreciate.
I've put up some good numbers this year. I can't expect to have any better of a season, I don't think, in any year. So, you know, if it happens, fine, and if not, you know, I did my best.
Don Mattingly's best? Well, it was good enough to beat out George Brett for the Most Valuable Player award.
I feel good for the city of New York, I really do. It seems like every time I get to come back 3 or 4 times since the season was over, that's all I want to talk about is the MVP. And the same way in my hometown, Evansville, but not quite the emphasis, I don't think. And here it seemed like the city was involved, and it seemed like the city would have been disappointed if I didn't win, and that was kind of neat.
Mattingly's star got that much brighter in 1987 when he chased Dale Long's 31-year-old record with a mid-July long ball spree.
Hey, did he get all of it? Did he? Holy cow, he did it! Holy cow, Mattingly is unbelievable! The opposite field! Holy cow!
And the fans are giving him a standing ovation.
Oh!
Don Mattingly has just tied a record set back in 1956 by the Pirates' Dale Long. A home run in 8 consecutive games.
The same summer, the man who entered the season with no career grand slams more than made up for lost time.
Here it is 0-0 with the Yankees and a bases-loaded threat.
Here it goes. Long drive and a grand slam upper deck for Mattingly. His 6th of the year. A new Major League single-season record for Mattingly, 6 grand slams.
Averaging numbers like these for 6 straight seasons, Mattingly put himself in some pretty fair company.
He's in a class with that certain group of great Yankees that have been here before. He certainly qualifies off of everything that he has done and everything that I think he'll do in the future for the Yankees. There aren't too many people that are in a class like that, but he certainly is in with the great ones. He fits that as far as we're concerned as an image and as a team, and he's the kind of player that you want to build around and build with.
While one player dominated the decade on the field, in the dugout, the main theme was change. 16 manager changes, to be exact. Though in the eyes of George Steinbrenner, a managerial firing was not an organizational dismissal.
See, when most teams fire a manager, they let him go. He's on the street. His family's on the street. His kids are on the street. Where's the next meal coming from? Hopefully they latch on somewhere else. We don't do that. All of those fellas who have left us, with the exception of Dallas, are still with us. The Clyde Kings, the Bob Lemons, who you mentioned, Bucky Dent, Mike Ferrero, Gene Michael, they're all still with me because they know loyalty goes both ways. And while I may have felt it necessary to make a change at that time, they're still part of my organization and they're still with me. And if I were such an ogre and an ingrate, why are they elsewhere? Well, somebody else say, well, yeah, but they sold their soul to George Steinbrenner because of the money. That's baloney. Those guys could go anywhere and get the money. Believe me, they could. They're that good.
Sweet Lou Piniella managed in '86, '87. In '88, George moved Lou to the front office as general manager. Brought Billy Martin back to the dugout for the 5th and last time.
Yes. Fine. George will be naturally in on it. He has a little say.
In 1989, Dallas Green arrived, a manager from outside the Yankee organization.
We've got a lot of good baseball people in the clubhouse. I've got what I think is an outstanding staff that are good teachers and that care about winning.
In August, it was Bucky Dent.
I don't think there's any pressure on me right now. I just want to come in here and hopefully, get these guys inspired to try and turn it around.
Ron Guidry spent his whole career in pinstripes. Gator won 20 games 3 times, ranks 10th all-time in winning percentage. When it came time to call it quits, Ron bowed out his way with class.
I'm here today just to say that I'm, officially announcing my retirement from the game because I feel that I'm standing in the way of some young guy who's in the same position I was in 1976, trying to get to the major leagues and doing the job that he loves the most.
For over 50 years, the job of clubhouse manager belonged to this man, the beloved Pete Sheehy.
If he knew a player wasn't going to make the ball club, you'd have a high number, and if he thought you were going to make the club, he was like a scout. He'd give you a low number, and then you knew you were going to stay.
Billy Martin's tragic death Christmas Day 1989 brought the decade to a close. 10 years of searching for the right mix produced individual heroics, but not one world championship.
There's no way anybody can justify everything. I'm not going to try. I did what I thought was best for the team at the time, and we did win more games than anybody in the 80s. They say, yeah, but you didn't win a championship since '81. Hell, the Cleveland Indians haven't won one since '54. Some guys have never won one, so I don't feel so bad about that.
For Yankees fans, the decade of the 80s ended with the tragic death of Billy Martin. The start of the 90s, although less tragic, provided a little to cheer about. Bucky Dent was fired the first week of June, replaced by longtime Yankee minor league manager Stump Merrill. Another minor leaguer, called up 3 weeks after Stump, would soon have fans forgetting about the Yankees' season of struggle.
This one hit a ton to right field. That is back, out of here, gone. Say goodbye.
Ooh, halfway up the bleachers. Holy cow.
There's another long drive by Kevin Moss, and it is gone, and that is his 3rd home run of the series.
Deep to right field. This ball is way out of here.
And he has the runner going. There's a drive hit deep into right center. Way back and kiss this one goodbye.
Tapani trying to pitch out of a jam. Checks Layrich, the runner at 3rd. Here's the payoff pitch and a deep drive to right field. Way back. It's out of here. Home run for Kevin Moss.
Sachs is gone. Boy, that's gone. Oh, Holy cow! There's that beautiful swing up the deck job, and the Yankees lead 2-0.
And he hits it a long way in right field, and I mean a long way. Third deck.
I came up to New York during the season at a point where they needed, the club needed a kind of a pick-me-up. I think things were getting a little stale. The club wasn't winning a whole lot, and I think I just provided a little bit of a spark there to ignite the team in a small way.
And he's quickly becoming a big favorite by the fans of the Yankees.
Kevin's power was impressive, and so were the talents of other youngsters getting called up, like Jim Leyritz and Oscar Azocar. The Yankees youth movement had veterans wondering about their future in pinstripes. Such veterans as Dave Righetti, for 10 seasons a member of the Yankees.
My future, I think, is bright. If I stay healthy, I can help somebody for another 5 to 10 years, and that's the way I feel about it. And if the Yankees choose to want to keep me around and not go to total youth movement, then I'll still be here. If they need to trade me, maybe get some people that they'd like to have, that's fine too. But you know, you'd like to, all these years you put in, you'd like to see it pay off somehow and be a part of something good.
In the winter of 1991, the pitching-hungry Yankees signed Steve Farr and Scott Sanderson.
So as far as expectations and goals for me next year, is number one, to stay healthy and get 30, anywhere from 34, 35, 36 starts in there, get over 200 innings, and then we'll let the results, the wins and losses and ERAs and everything else take care of themselves.
Scott exceeded all expectations, especially in his first start when he took a no-hitter into the 9th inning.
And Davey Phillips, the home plate umpire, even though there's a man up there, human nature will tell him the benefit of the doubt will go to Scott Sanderson.
First pitch, fly ball back into right. Barfield back on the track, and that ball is off the wall. Extra bases for Tony Phillips, and there goes the no-hit attempt.
Scott's 16 wins in '91 made him the Yankees' most consistent and durable starter. But pitching, as it turned out, was problematic. Pascual Perez, who had come to New York with great expectations, pitched only 14 times in all of '91.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And there goes Pascual, and also there goes the Seattle Mariners here in the top half of the first inning.
I know I know being pitcher, but I know I'm part of the team. One of the things that hurt me more is I can produce for the ball club because I'm being hurt, And then today, I think it's a big change because I know I can do some damage.
But despite all their woes, the Yankees made 2 promising moves off the field. First, signing the #1 draft pick in the nation, fireballing lefty Brian Taylor. Then, at season's end, the Yankees named their new manager, third base coach Buck Showalter.
It wasn't a real tough decision for me. It was one that I made with my heart, and I also made with my head because I think it's a great opportunity, and it's very flattering to be considered and given the job as managing what I consider the best sports franchise in all sports.
In 1992, Buck Showalter became the youngest manager in the majors when he took over the Yankees at age 35.
Buck, as far as I am concerned, is a manager who will bring us, in New York, a world championship.
It's very easy to give in to the temptation and allure of mediocrity, and we do not ever want to allow that to set in here. How this club's going to be viewed will be something that we're going to have to answer at the end of the year when we put it all together and look where we are, where we've come, and what we've accomplished and what we haven't accomplished.
Hoping for big accomplishments, the Yankees signed to a 5-year, $3 million contract with Danny Tartabull.
There's a great deal of mystique, I think, when you're a Yankee, and I think that every kid growing up dreams of wearing Yankee pinstripe. I think that there's this long tradition, and I think everybody wants a part of the New York Yankee tradition, and I'm living it right now. I'm living the dream. Despite missing 39 games, Danny led the team with 25 homers, 85 RBIs, and in 1993, he returned to the 100 RBI club for the 4th time. How about that? Another Stick Michael deal that paid off, the trade that sent Steve Sachs to Chicago for Melito Perez. Even with little run support in '92, Melito ranked among the league leaders in most every category. The trade also brought youngster Bob Wickman. He made a quick jump to the Yankee rotation, went 14-4 before he headed to still greener pastures in the bullpen. The job of right-hand closer had been held by Steve Farr, who saved 88 games in 3 seasons. Don Mattingly's bat found new life. Defensively, he proved he could still pick 'em with the best. Of course, nothing was quite as newsworthy as the return of George Steinbrenner from a 2-year suspension.
One of the things that I did meditate about or think about was what is most important? Is it when you're there that they love you? And I don't expect my players to love me. I hope they respect me. But the most important thing is when they're gone from you, if they learned lessons that they can carry through the rest of their lives and they say good things, that's very important.
Wade Boggs and Jimmy Key, 1993 Superstar Team Editions. Evidence that the Yankees were back in the free agent business more vigorously than ever.
We feel like we can win, and I think the ingredients are here to win. I think we just got to go on with the schedule for the next couple, 2 or 3 months and see what we're all about and see if we, do have the ingredients here to win. And
key ingredients included catcher Mike Stanley and utility infielder Randy Velarde. As for Jim Abbott, he gave the '93 season an extra special highlight September the 4th.
And the ground ball to short. Velarde, he did it! He did it! No-hitter for Jim Abbott.
The new and improved 1993 Yankees wound up in 2nd place, 12 games better than the year before. The Yankees of the 1990s are looking to bright young stars to keep them in contention. One such star is 26-year-old center fielder Bernie Williams. Now, Bernie is a switch hitter, but he's got a knack for lashing left-handed pitchers particularly. And Bernie is sure on his way to becoming a big part of the Yankees' future.
I'm striving to become a complete player. A player that can do it all in any aspect of the game. I mean, if I can help the club with a great defensive catch, I want to be able to do it.
Ripping to center field, Williams going back, it's hit a ton, it's at the fence, Williams makes the catch.
If I can be in a situation that I could hit a home run.
Deep, that's gone, that's a grand slammer. Holy cow, give me 5, all right.
Or driving a run, or bunt a ball, or even steal a base, I want to be able to do those things.
Another great play by Bernie Williams at the 399 side.
I think he's going to be a great star up and coming.
I've been impressed with the young guy.
Just phenomenal.
He's awesome. Bernie Williams is awesome.
And a crowd of 30,000 plus calling for Bernie. He was reluctant to take the curtain call last night after the grand slam. Let's see what happens tonight. Here he is.
The shining star of the infield is second baseman Pat Kelly. Pat's glove got him to the majors, and once he got there, his bat proved to be equally impressive. And as for Pat's agenda with the Yankees,
showing to some people that I can play, I belong, and some of the people who stuck their neck out for me, when I was in the minor leagues or, struggling the first couple years, they finally, I think, got a little bit of satisfaction to seeing me doing good, and they got maybe some of their accolades, what they should have received by, pushing me into playing.
He's not running.
Yep. Stopped by Gallego to Kelly, a barehand pickup, a double play!
Kelly, a high drive, hit deep to left. Bell going back, and the ball's gone.
Home run for Pat Kelly, who's having a banner day. And a base hit, a liner over the head of Rossi. Stanley's going to be waved in. He will score as Felix Jose couldn't find a handle out there. That's a base hit and a run batted in for Pat Kelly, and the Yankees lead 5-4.
I just want to keep a consistent basis, keep a steady, even keel, throughout my career. And I think, with those kind of numbers throughout maybe, 5 or 6 more years with the Yankees, that'd be great. And I'm Yankee through and through. I've been a Yankee since the day I signed in 1988. And I would love to play my whole career with the New York Yankees. And if that's possible and my goals are still there, it'll be great.
When it comes to greatness, the Yankees are looking to Brian Taylor. They're hoping a separated shoulder will not throw their future star off a steady course to the major leagues.
Brian Taylor, the ultimate arm. I don't think in my lifetime that I've seen an arm come along like this. He does it with such ease, and the main thing for us is to work with him continually on fundamentals, fielding his position, holding runners, and covering bases, which he has improved greatly.
Basically, everybody's been like a helping hand to tell you when you're doing something wrong. Basically, they let you really pitch. They correct your mistakes and let you know when you come back to decide what you're doing wrong and what to work on.
Brian Taylor's improved dramatically from this time last year. His mechanics are a whole lot better, his pitching mechanics. As far as his being able to hold runners, fielding his position, things like that, he's made improvements. He still has a ways to go. Those are the things that are going to keep him out of the big leagues for whatever amount of time it takes for him to improve upon those. But as far as stuff, he could throw the ball 96, 97.
Well, the time may be sooner than later for 20-year-old shortstop Derek Jeter, who was named Baseball America's Minor League Player of the Year for 1994. Man, what a season. Derek played in Single-A, Double-A, and Triple-A, hitting better than .320 at every level. For a prospect as promising as Derek, it's just a matter of time and consistency.
We want to see him make a routine play. We want to see him, we know he runs well, we know he has good arm strength, and we know that he has great athleticism, but we don't see him make the routine plays. That's what the major league players do on a consistent basis. They make the routine play.
For my position, shortstop defense is the main thing. So I need a lot of work on that, and you can only do it by playing. So I'm gonna get some more games in, and we'll see what happens.
And through it all, the Yankees endure as the proud jewel in the center of baseball's great landscape. From Mattingly to DiMaggio, Yankee fans have had 6 decades of unparalleled greatness, and the legacy goes on.